Having this conversation with us is Shazmeen Bank. It's time for Relationship Cycle. So we're talking about how to balance power in a relationship. Welcome to the show, Shazmeen. You look lovely.
Thank you. So do you.
Thank you so much. Talking about, having different roles in a relationship. When you go back in the day, those roles were sort of defined.
Yes.
We knew the man would be there protecting the family. And this was protecting, like physically, or giving them protection in terms of, I know we have a home, we'll get food because mzee ameenda kutafuta. And then as a woman, you make sure the children are disciplined, they eat well, they have good manners. They were defined.
Yes.
But somehow along the way, we sort of like mix things up a bit.
Yes.
How do we define those things anymore, if there's a way?
Okay, so this is beautiful, and I think we're in a generation where there's no perfect answer to roles that are still ever changing.
Okay.
Because if you look at 40 years ago, exactly what you were saying, roles were completely defined. Men knew what they were doing, women knew what they were doing, each other understood what the institution of marriage was. It was to breed, it was to have strong, healthy children, it was to make, the village that you were in grow, to be prouder of you. But now you look at culture, you look at society, you look at now there's a shift also in the roles. Women in the last 50 years have taken on a huge chunk of what they feel is their power back. And they sort of feel like we can do what men can do, And it's an interesting topic, because I feel here we are, as women, you want these strong, protective, masculine men. But then at the same time, we are also saying that we can be strong, protect ourselves, we don't need you. We can do what you can do and probably better.
Yeah.
And then somewhere down the line, we end up being lonely. And we end up as women looking for these amazing men that we can change. We're looking for men that are beautifully masculine in who they are, but then we're looking for men that can also be hairy girlfriends. Men that conform to exactly what we want as women. So it's, where's this balance? Where's this shift coming from? There's no perfect answer to exactly what is the correct roles anymore, without even stepping on toes for extreme feminists, for feminists that believe we don't need a man at all in our lives now. We can have children without a man. I don't need to be married to you anymore to have a life.
Yeah.
So there's this whole shift, I feel, in society, yet, when you look at basic relationships and basic marriages, if you talk to women and you talk to men, both of them say that going back into a traditional way of where roles are certain, of where you know what the roles each other is going to play and bring to a relationship, allows couples to feel safer to be in that relationship, as opposed to couples feeling, I'm coming to a relationship, but I don't know who I am as a man. I don't know if I can cross the line with my woman or not. There's 50 women behind her if I do or say anything wrong. So men are also feeling they don't know where they stand. But in a whole shift in generation like this of what is our roles with each other, I'd like to begin by saying first, a woman's role cannot be without a man's.
Okay.
There's a reason you have yin and yang.
Yeah.
There's a reason when you go out into the animal kingdom, you see the males need the females. Both have entirely separate things on what they're doing, but at the end of the day, need each other to be able to coexist in a very different way that human beings do.
Okay.
So animals don't look for love, for security, for nurturing. They look purely for protection and to feed.
Yes.
Which is what we did 40, 50 years ago. Right.
Yes.
But now you're in a generation where women want and men want relationships with feel. You're in a generation now where women also have to be able to work, which initially confused them. It really confused women to feel, I'm working. Does this mean I'm a bad mom? Does this mean I'm not spending time at home? I now have a chef to be able to help me because I am carrying a full 7 to 9 o'clock job as well. And then when I come home, I've got children to feed and put into bed, barely having time for me. Am I bad as a woman that I don't play certain roles that traditionally I should play?
Oh, goodness.
Now that the marriage requires the two of us to work. And so this whole question comes down really to what is the balance we can find in relationships.
Because I think when you start working, there are things that used to happen back in the day where the man would provide everything for you.
Yes.
And then now you start working, and then you don't need him to provide everything because you can get some things for yourself.
Right.
And that becomes, if I can do this for myself, then I can also do this for myself. Then the man is like, so what am I supposed to do for you?
Yes.
So it becomes like a power struggle of some sort. What can you do? What can you not do? Where do we find the balance?
So it's, for men, I would say the first place begins with women really being inclusive of men.
Okay.
We sort of say we want to do everything ourselves, but then we also go ahead and have male children that we want to bring up as strong, beautiful men that can be sensitive, that can conquer the world, that can protect women. But at the end of the day, we're training and pruning children eventually at some point in life to get into their own relationships. So children are now already watching dynamics between a husband and a wife in the home. They're watching whether there's a power struggle or there's not. They're watching, is they balance, is they not? Because if I see this is going on between my parents, I'm clearly understanding my role later on in life, unless society will now tell me what my role will be.
Oh.
And so this whole dynamic comes down to, before you even get into relationship, it's being able to know who you are fully as a person in this day and age. So it's women understanding that, yes, you are powerful, you are beautiful. No one wants to take the power away. Women have stood for it very, very well. But in that process of confusing the men all around us, we still also want them right next to us. So it would now be to be able to tell men that we are strong because men can see it, but we also need you. How do we bring man back in to this dynamic where it's not just me, myself, and I as a woman, because I'm strong and I can do it? And how do you have the man now feel comfortable and safe? Because you remember, you've shaken his masculinity. When women before were told what to do, they did it. But now women will tell you how they will not do what you are telling them to do, because financially they're more secure. And so a man feels, that was my role. I came in with this pride. I came with the pride that I will take care of you. I will. My gift to you is to give you whatever you want, a better life. And that's what I strive for, even if I'm not able to attain it perfectly. But when I leave home and I go out there into this crazy world to slay for you, I'm doing it for you. That's how I come home and tell you, I killed all the lions out there and I did it for you. But these couple of scratches now, I just want you to take care of me.
Okay.
But now you have women who turn around and say, okay.
Who told you to?
Right. Because
I
I could do it too.
I didn't ask you to.
Exactly.
Like, I could have just done the same thing without scratches.
Yes, and better. And I would have told you exactly what route you should have taken and exactly how you could have got there. But you see, we've forgotten to work together.
Yeah.
So we've forgotten to be able to, as man and woman, as husband and wife, as partners, be able to come together and say, okay, what do we want in a union? What parts of tradition would be beautiful to have in our relationship?
Yes.
It seems that having a bit of tradition now seems that's outdated. But it's not.
It's not.
There's a beautiful level of when women stay in their beautiful essence, you can go out there, you can work. But it's how you handle also working. It's how you also handle your power. It's how you also handle finance. And you come into a home and you don't take the masculine out of the man and be able to say, I can do this. And then you have men that are sitting at home now wondering, what do I do? Because she's providing, she's bringing things into the house. And then you have women that say, he won't work, he won't leave. But you've somehow shifted a balance in such a way where he feels, I don't know what to do anymore.
And this sort of like takes a spiral effect, because if you have a son in the house who's seeing all this, then maybe they will grow up knowing that it's the role of the woman to do these things.
Right.
So later on in the world, you're trying to date this guy and you're wondering, what's going on.
Yes.
So if we do not handle this in our marriages as mothers and fathers, then we're also bringing up a generation that will also have this particular problem in their relationships.
Right.
Because they don't know better.
They don't. They are completely watching the dynamic and power struggle between two human beings that they have been born to trust.
Yes.
And to know that this is what you say and what you do is exactly who I should learn to be from. Until, like I said later on, society and friends and groups will sort of take little bits away and allow them to form their own identity and opinions. But it comes down to now couples finding what are the key things we want to be able to have in a beautiful relationship that allows me to maintain a beautiful role and allows you to maintain a beautiful role.
Yeah.
Maybe it doesn't need us to be on two opposing ends.
Okay.
Maybe coming to relationship with the basic foundation of trust and the basic foundation of freedom to be able to voice and learn how to communicate. What if we both took on that role? What if it was not just now the role of a woman to have to chase a man, to be able to have conversations and to talk? And what if it was the role of also a man now to be able to care enough about how is his woman's day? What is she going through? How did she feel? You know, something I encourage so many of my clients, so many, is I tell the men, I want you to be able to notice and tell me during the month, what does your woman go through? Because people take for granted the cycle a woman goes through, and by the time she begins to feel normal, her body is changing all over again.
That's so true.
Yes, and people think, you know, there's so many jokes about how she's crazy during that time, or it's Shark Week, or she'll bite your head off. But that's not where women want to be. It's just your body has changed in such a way, and men don't understand it. You cannot.
You cannot help it. It happens, and it just hits you. And sometimes, even as a woman, you don't understand what's happening to you until you look at the calendar and you're like, oh, shikes, this is happening.
Yes.
But when you start dating someone, then it's beautiful. And we don't get to have these tough conversations, which should happen on the onset.
Yes.
And to understand that you two are on the same side, same team. Same team. It's you against the world. We're taking a very short commercial break. If you have any questions, if you feel like there's a power struggle in your relationship, if you feel like power has been taken from you, you're powerless, and you're not so sure what's going on, this is just a session for you. 111 for just a shilling. Send in your SMSs. Switch TV KE on Instagram, Switch TV Kenya on Facebook. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to Full Circle with Mikali. A very good morning to you. You know we love to hear from you, so send in your comments, your feedback, and all your questions, because Shazmeen Bag is in the building, and we are talking about the roles of men and women in relationship. What happened? What changed? The power struggle that comes with all of that. But just to throw it out to you, Shaz, how do you pick out imbalance in a relationship? Because when it starts, we're all good. It's honeymoon. We are happy. But that fades with time.
Yes.
It might take a long time, but eventually the walls will come down and we'll see each other for who we really are.
Right.
So what are the signs to look out for me to notice that there's a bit of an imbalance here when it comes to, you know, power and, you know, the roles and everything that should be in a relationship?
Okay, so see, I find this so interesting because to begin with, I wonder when we come into these beautiful relationships, before our hormones calm down. So it's not that the relationship goes wrong.
No.
It's just you're not stuffed with oxytocin and dopamine anymore because the brain gets familiar with the person that's around. Why do we have the word power and struggle in a relationship to begin with? When you come in and you're attracted to somebody and you've got that little bit of that dating time and you decide this is the person I seem to love, this could be possibly the person I want to spend the rest of my life with. They look like they have great genes that are going to give me some good looking children.
Yes.
Right. But when you're having the time to be able to do all of that, at what point when all of that wears out and the person starts to see who you are for who you are and you start to see them for who they are, at what point do we decide I'm going to not be vulnerable enough in that relationship And that vulnerability now starts to scare me. And so instead of being vulnerable, I'll start to have all these walls and barriers up.
Yeah.
Because in case you hurt me, in case something goes wrong, I'm okay. I got one leg in and one leg out, because that's how people have relationships today. And so the minute you hurt me, I'm out of here.
Yes.
I didn't invest too much.
Yes.
But the point of being able to come into these relationships is so that you don't have power struggles.
Okay.
Is so that you learn these beautiful places you both are. What if you had a powerful, strong, gorgeous woman working and earning maybe a little more than a husband, but she values and understands the role of her husband so well. She understands how it could make him feel. And so now as couples, you start to pre-think, how can I be, who should I be to protect the other person that's also giving me their time in life?
Yeah.
Because we move from a place of someone will see all of me, because I haven't yet seen all of me.
Oh.
And sometimes when I see all of me, I get scared. So how could I allow this person I'm supposed to trust to see these deep parts of me that I haven't even dealt with, and allow myself to be vulnerable enough? So instead, let's put up power, let's put up struggle, let's go into the external world to fill ourselves with time and work and friends and all these other things, and avoid getting down to what needs to happen between the two of us to actually make a relationship work.
Oh, goodness.
So
That is exactly what happens.
yes,
Yeah.
because no longer do I sit with clients that come into relation. I'll have the older generation of clients that really want to make a relationship work and are
Yes.
confused about what went wrong. And then I have clients that walk in and will come to me with a problem, but they come to me hoping I'm going to fix the other person. Whereas then we're first going to have to start with you,
Yes.
because you're the only person that can fix the other person, because you chose to be with them. So it's now the two of you together. And does anyone ever really need fixing? If you come to a relationship to be able to grow, to
Yeah.
eventually find each other, to be more whole than you were when you're supposed to come together.
Oh, goodness.
So it is this dynamic now of what do our roles come in to be? So does a woman's role come in to stay in the beautiful essence of softness, of being feminine? Because being feminine is power. I have seen that you can be so beautifully feminine, and feminine doesn't mean weak.
No, it doesn't.
So in your pure feminine essence, you could melt the strongest, hardest man with how you choose not to go into a power struggle with him. So even in work dynamics, I've had women that say, you know, I've got this coworker and there's this man who's just strong, he's tough. Every time I come at him, he comes at me harder. We're not able to work together. And I tell them, what if you went back into your essence? Even in your relationships with your spouses.
Yes.
What instead of coming at them, you're soft, you're kind, you're nurturing, you're the beginning of empathetic for that moment, and you give them room to shift and feel this energy feels safe.
Yeah.
Because women, as much as we want men to be our protectors and to make us feel safe, men also want a safe environment to be able to be who they are and discover who they are as men. So it now becomes the roles of the two of us in this relationship to say, what if we come in to do it fairly? What if I'm in feminine essence and you stay in masculine essence? But we start to notice when there could be a power shift, because I might be going into masculine now.
Yes.
And so I will voice to you that this situation is pushing me into masculine, because very often the minute a woman goes into strong masculine, you will have the man back off
Yes.
and go into feminine and
Yeah.
surrender. But then as a woman, you're now left feeling unsafe.
That is true, because you will be, say for example, the rent is due. So he's been taking care of that for a very long time.
Yeah.
Then now he's not able to do that. Then somehow as a woman would like to feel safe and everything, and you have children. So you step in, pay rent, and you think maybe I'll just pay rent and school fees for maybe 2 terms, maybe 2 months. Then it continues for a while. Then slowly you forget that there was a masculine essence that's supposed to be in play. So you go in full mode, you lose yourself as the feminine, soft.
Yes.
And it happens. It happens in so many relationships. And somehow the man gets to feel powerless. And it could be the other way around, where you've been made to give up so many things that make you you as a woman, that you end up feeling that he took everything from me. Now I'm this feminine who's very powerless in this relationship.
So to me, that sounds already like a relationship with two people in a relationship, but they have two separate identities, two separate goals, two separate visions.
Yes.
What happens to the two of us having a vision together? Which means if now I'm supposed to be the bread earner as the woman, we still communicate and talk to each other. We still turn around and say, what is our plan forward? I have been paying this for a while. I don't mind, because we're in a relationship together, in a normal, healthy relationship, which now is very different from a situation of a woman just sort of takes care of a man, and a man is choosing to not work or choosing to sit at home, or is frustrating the woman entirely to feel, I'm doing everything. I'm doing children, I'm doing home, I'm doing cooking, I'm being provider, and you're at a bar and you're drinking and you're not working and you're not trying to look for a job. That's two different scenarios.
Yes.
So what happens, like in COVID, there were so many situations where the man genuinely lost his job.
Yeah.
But as a couple, now they had to learn together that it was not the woman feeling I'm paying and I'm doing everything. Even though she was feeling a little unsafe, what was the core emotion at the bottom of all that bubbling feeling was, you should be the one providing, I'm the one doing it all. But what she was not communicating is this: I just feel overwhelmed.
Okay.
Tell me everything will be okay.
Yes.
It comes down to, we fight and have arguments that are this thick, but what are you trying to say? What are you really feeling in this moment? And so in this power struggle, a lot of women feel, I'll take it on. I lose my essence because I have to be more masculine to work in the world, to deal with men that are more, stronger, and feel that I shouldn't be able to rise as fast or strongly as I am.
Yes.
But then when I come home, my man's also at home. And so I feel I don't get to go back into feminine. I'm still sort of staying in my masculine essence. And now as a couple, you're depolarized. Because the man's moved into feminine, the woman's moved into masculine. You have two people completely out of their essences. And these two people are supposed to have a healthy relationship. It can't work.
Yeah.
It works with now when you choose to say whatever roles we're going to have in a relationship, it comes down to us talking every day. It comes down to us being able to say, is this situation continuing? Is this situation needing to change between the two of us? But so often we go into these roles and then we feel alone, separate. And then we're wondering why we're lonely in the relationship that's supposed to be a place where you're supposed to come together to find love and warmth. But it's because you've both chosen not to communicate.
Yeah.
You've both chosen not to fight for that part of your relationship that's going through a slump at the moment. And so in COVID, I had so many women that were now suddenly the bread earners, and were not earning crazy amounts, but they were doing much better. But they had to also be coached to be able to understand it doesn't mean there's a power shift.
Yeah.
What if this is a good opportunity as a couple to say, what could we do together? What, now that you're out of a job, do you need to go back into a job? Could this be a beautiful opportunity for you to turn into an entrepreneur? And so many amazing men started to be able to say, what are the funds we're getting together? And what could we do together as a couple also? There's so many ways out of different dynamics in a relationship that we perceive are consistent problems.
Yeah.
But when you come together as two strong heads to be able to sort it out, both in your power, not in a struggle, suddenly the pathway is open for two of you to be able to see, how do we make this work?
Okay. This is beautiful. Just one more question before we go on a break.
Yes.
And she's not going anywhere, guys. She'll still be here. Hi, Wikali. My husband and I have a baby, 5 months now. I stopped working when I got pregnant. However, I want to go back to work, but he doesn't like it, though he hasn't told me in words. He provides gladly, but it ain't enough. Though he gives all the essentials in the house, whenever I mention getting back to work, he asks what I lack and says our baby is still young. I feel me getting to work will snatch him the joy of being a man. And yet, I don't want him to struggle too much providing, yet I'm also educated. What do I do?
You know, when I hear that question, do you know what I say?
Yeah.
I smile. That is a beautiful question.
Yes.
You have a man that loves his woman so much that feels, I'll give you everything. You've had a baby, stay home as long as you need to. In his world, he feels the child might be young and needs you. And then you have a woman that's there saying, I don't want you to struggle too long and on your own. But at the same time, I'm this mom and I've just had a baby, but there's a part of me and another part of me that still wants to work. I've studied. It's two different sides of my identity that I don't want to just lose like that.
Yeah.
So what I would tell her would be, you're already in such a beautiful space of giving each other, but you're giving each other feeling, am I taking away from him? You're not. You could sit down and turn around and tell him, I love how much you're working so hard for me and the baby. And I feel I might stay with the baby a little longer, but at the same time, generations have changed. You're not a bad mother if you go back to work.
Yeah.
In fact, I feel women that sometimes go to work, it is beautiful because you get some fresh air and you come back to your baby and you have all the time, patience and presence for the child now. But it's how you communicate it to him to make him feel that I'm not taking what you're giving me as a gift away.
No.
And you ask him. Men like to solve. So tell him, what do you feel? I feel as a woman, I'd love to work. I'd love that part of me to stay as much as I love being a mom. But how can you help me solve this?
Okay.
And let the man sort of feel like, okay, but I'm providing and I'm giving you everything, and it has nothing to do with that.
Yes.
I love everything you're providing for me. But that part of work keeps another part of me alive that I'm feeling right now I don't want to lose. And sometimes new mothers start to feel, is this going to be the rest of my life?
Yes.
Is this everything?
Is this it?
Right. Waking up, feeding, lack of sleep. Is this my whole world for the rest of my life? Something I would tell new mothers is enjoy it as much as you can.
Yes.
It is the toughest part of bringing up a child, but you will learn the most about who you are as a woman in that phase of your life. But it's how you always learn to communicate to each other, where the husband now will feel this is such a safe environment for me to say what I want. And what is he really asking for?
Yeah.
And what am I really asking for? We're both two people in love. This is very easy to solve.
Oh my God! It gave me a smile. It's a beautiful.
It is.
It's a beautiful
such a
question.
beautiful problem.
It's a beautiful dilemma, which definitely will sort of like end well. It feels like they're in a very good space.
Yes.
We're taking a very short commercial break. Please keep sending in your questions and see them. When we come, we'll be answering all these questions. Shazmin will still be here. And we are giving away some amazing branded merchandise, branded Full Circle with Mikali merchandise. So stick around for that. And the question is, have you encountered power imbalance or power struggles in your relationship, and how did you solve that? So it's not just acknowledging that that happened, but how did you get out of that situation? 111 444 111. That is the SMS line. Switch TV KE, Instagram Switch TV Kenya. On Facebook, we'll be looking at your feedback in just a bit. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Full Circle with Mikali. A very good morning to you. We have some Full Circle with Mikali merchandise to give away this morning, and we are asking you, have you been in power struggle situation in your relationship? Have you experienced the imbalance of power? Have you felt powerless? And how did you get out of that situation? This is tied into the conversation we're having this morning with Shazmin Bank, the different roles that we have as a man, as a woman in a relationship. So it's still continuing, but we just want to focus on the questions for just a bit because they are a lot. Okay, so I'm going to start from all the way down. Okay, as we go up. Hi, Mikali. I've been married for 4 years, but I just realized that my husband is cheating on me. Please advise. Okay,
so the first thing is, when you realize the spouse is cheating, you have to be able to talk to him and catch him out on it.
Okay.
So I'm sure when you catch or you say, my spouse is cheating, you have enough proof, you've got something on the phone, you know it's going on. And the first thing I want to say to women in that moment is, you can go straight into something was wrong with me and, you know, my self-worth and why did this happen to me. So first thing I want to tell her is, It is nothing to do with you. You are perfect the way you are, but you need to address him, and you need to talk to him, and you need to be able to tell him, this is wrong, this is not right. And then as a couple, you need to be able to decide what's the way forward. Because it's very easy to be able to always say you can leave the minute it happens. But situations are in so many family dynamics, you can't just leave the minute something like this happens. But it's for you to be able to voice immediately that I'm not okay with this, and find out, sadly, as much as you can, how long has it been going on for, and then see what he says back. A simple apology in situations like this is never something that's just enough, because you'll see further down the line, something happens along the way that makes you feel, I can't let it go. It keeps coming up. He did something that hurt me, that, you've destroyed boundaries in a relationship that shouldn't ever be destroyed. Trust, it's the fundamental of the reason you two are together.
That's true.
So I would tell you is get some support around you, people that will be able to talk to you and make you feel amazing, but call him out on it immediately. You don't want to stay in a relationship where, is it the first time he's done it, or he keeps doing it, or it's something he's done before and you might not even know. So, it's interesting when you look at a situation where a couple ends up cheating, because there's never a way to condone the behavior, but there's always what was going on in the relationship, that sometimes a man will feel he can do that when he has a beautiful wife that's loving and giving, or sometimes a man will do that when you reach what you were saying is a power struggle, and you two now are just together for the sake of being together. You've failed to work through all these issues you have, and now the easy alternative in today's world is swipe right, because there's somebody waiting for me on 5,000 different apps. So call him out, and morally, with your values, also be able to tell him, this is not something I thought would ever happen in our relationship. And then you have to just take this one day at a time now.
Not easy. Not easy. Hello there. You look beautiful, ladies. Thank you. I'm Carol. I'm married with one cute baby. We agreed with my husband, once my girl is of age, I'm going back to his... I'm going back, but he's changed. He doesn't want to see me working, and I'm feeling powerless since I hate depending on others. Please help me. So they had an agreement.
Okay, that she would go back to work after the baby's one?
Yeah, of age. I don't know what of age meant, but the baby is, they're not saying this, one cute baby.
Okay.
So they had agreed that once the baby is of age, she can go back, but he doesn't want to see her working, and she doesn't know what to do now.
Okay, so the first thing would be to ask him why. Why don't you want to see me working? What do you feel you lose out on if I go back to work? What about me going back to work upsets you? These are conversations you have to be able to understand, that it's not that he doesn't want you to go back to work.
Yeah.
There's a fear underlying that request that needs to be able to be addressed.
Okay.
So what is it you're scared? Do you feel if I go back to work, I'll not be a great mother? Because that's never the case. But here I am, I'm going to talk to you about it because I want to go back to work.
Yes.
How do we work this out? How do I do it in a way where I am comfortable, you are comfortable, but we're both still in a level where now we grew from being able to disagree to now agree. Okay. It's all down to communication. How you say it. Do you go in and demand it and then push him more over the edge and make him feel this is not where I want to be and you will not go back to work? So you're giving your power away. Or do you go into your essence and your power and say, this is something I can solve so simply. I'm going to go to him and tell him we had an agreement. If you feel the agreement's changed, tell me why.
Yeah.
And now work it from a simple beginning conversation, but in a way that you can also voice exactly how you feel, because it should be fair, and then see what's the compromise for the two of us.
Okay.
Because we both should be able to come out of this situation and both feel happy.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Morning, Mikali. Say hi to Shaz. I almost feel powerless because I have no job. I think this is quite a thing. I take care of a baby and hubby. and the hubbies that weren't taking care of us all, he literally brushes it on my face. So it gives me this pressure of getting a job first before even getting another child because he wants a baby, watching from Moranga. So he sort of like rubs it off on her face that you don't have a job and
I'm the caretaker.
yes, I'm taking care of you. So it gives her pressure to want to get a job because, you know, she'd want to get her own as well.
Right. And, you know, I feel so sad for situations like this because if you're going to have a woman and you want her to be home, then let her feel safe to be home and let her feel
Yes.
accomplished while being home.
Yeah.
There's no housewife that I know that just sits around. There is so much work that goes in that people do not appreciate in a woman. You are a nurse, you're a doctor, you're an economic advisor to your spouse, you are the money caregiver, you are the housemaker, you're all these million things as women while you're still trying to shine as a queen. And I just feel sometimes you need a beautiful man that can see all these 5,000 roles women juggle that were never educated into being but become off so naturally. So I would tell her that get a job. If you feel, you know, that sometimes putting me in a position like this, remember, it's not getting a job that will solve the power problem.
No.
Your relationship needs a dynamic first where you get him to stop doing that to you. So you will get a job, but then you'll move on to the next problem where he starts to rub something else in your face. So get a job to be able to also feel great about yourself, because there's something beautiful about women that do work.
Yeah.
It brings out a side of you that is just amazing, that is creative, that makes you feel so full in so many ways, as well as beautiful women that still choose to be at home. But I would tell her in a situation like this, there's underlying problems in a marriage that he's choosing to feel he can do that with you. So it's for you to be able to stand up and say, you can't do that to me anymore. I don't appreciate how you make me feel. So now the only alternative for me is to feel I need to get a job so I can hit you par to par. But what we're not discussing is why are we even in a situation like this to begin with, where you make me feel this way.
Yes.
Because you want me to have another child, but I don't feel safe to have another child.
You're not making it safe for me.
No, and the only time women want to have babies with men is because the situation's beautiful and you feel I can bring something into this world because there are two people that will do their part to take care of a child. But for her now, a child's a lockdown.
Yeah.
A child is no longer a joy, and that is sad. So it's being able to really communicate to him and tell him, I don't appreciate the way you keep doing this. And sometimes in situations like this, being able to also, you know, have someone a little higher up that he respects to come in where he can't keep brushing you this way. Because this is that beautiful, very thin boundary line of verbal abuse.
Yes.
I will talk to you to make you feel unworthy, and then the woman will start to feel, am I not? And the only way for me to feel worthy is if I get a job. But that will never solve the dynamic of that relationship.
Okay.
Yeah.
So conversations need to happen, but yes, go get a job. I have worked hard in my life as a lady. I got a good house, a car, a nice lifestyle, etc. But now, relationship-wise, all the men now just want me because of the money. They do not want to be the man and they end up being the man in the relationship. And sometimes I end up lying to people about where I live, how much I earn, etc. How can I handle such a situation to get a genuine relationship?
Okay, I love this. It's like if I could help so many couples with where's my Prince Charming, and I could be like, right now I sense he's in Parklands and that's exactly where you need to head. This is what I would say. When you are in a dynamic like you are, first of all, you're already winning because you're standing strong as a woman.
Yes.
So brilliant. You're self-reliant. It's amazing. But now, what are you doing that's not allowing or attracting the right man into your life? Is it that you feel you're too strong as a powerhouse? And so the only men you're attracting are people who feel more submissive to that energy. So maybe it would be to stay the power, masculine, dominant house, wherever it is that you're earning, but you're forgotten to switch into a beautiful feminine
essence,
right,
yes.
that will now change and shift, attracting a masculine man that can take all of you.
Okay.
That can take the woman that works, that earns well, that does what she does, and I will come and contribute to it as well. But something I would also tell her is, don't date the men you know that are going to already look for you this way. The men that come into your life you're already aware are not the men you want. So it's kind of like being able to know this is not the dynamic I'm looking for. But maybe where you are hanging around, the friend circles you're in, maybe that's not allowing you to attract the right man in your life. Because there's always chemistry in which you'll attract a man, but then there's also proximity. So where are you spending the most of your time? Because people say, I want to attract somebody great, but then they never leave the house. They're like, I'm an introvert, but I want to be in a relationship. But you have to sometimes get out of the comfort zone to be able to look for somebody that you can attract. So I would tell her, is it possible that you could go back into being feminine and beautiful and soft, so that you're also crystal clear on wanting a very strong, beautiful, masculine man that is not threatened by who you are as a woman already?
Yeah, I think the worst thing would be for you to dim your light, or just dumb yourself down so that you can make it comfortable for this man that you want in your life. Because at the end of the day, who you really are will come out.
Right.
You will get tired of, being this timid person that you're not, just because you're doing this just for him.
Yes.
It is not sustainable.
Yes.
No, it's not. Hi, Wikali. I'm in a situation that needs help. Please assist me. I'm in a relationship with this man. We have a child and I work for him. Currently, the job is not doing so well, so I am not that well paid. Ever since we started dating, he has never provided for me with anything, since I loved being independent. And when I was pregnant, he used to provide. When he wanted to, but not so much. We can actually say he never really cared. After birth, he didn't show any support, not unless I ask for help. And up to now, he doesn't support us in anything. Sometimes I feel overwhelmed by all the overwhelmed by all the responsibility, but I don't even want to ask for his help since he doesn't care about anything we go through. I find it hard that I'm under no pay, that I can say in a month I'm getting 5K or something. I've bills to pay and a child to feed. Kindly advise me on how to engage him in order to chip in raising the baby.
Okay, so first of all, whoever that is, my heart goes out to you. Yeah. But this is what I would say. Is there a point in engaging him in conversation? Because it seems that you've tried that a couple of times and it's not working. And he clearly knows how much he's paying you, how much you're taking home, to the fact that you have a child to feed and bills to pay. So he's already not coming in as a man to be able to say, you need a lot more to look after our child. So I would urge you, if you're not earning well enough in this area, would it be so bad if you moved out of the fear of leaving this job to be able to find something where you are valued, where your talent can shine, and you can earn a lot more somewhere else?
Yeah.
So move gently on, because if you're going to keep engaging in conversations, it's a beautiful dynamic when you work with somebody, because you're in this relationship where now you've got to be able to discuss us as a couple.
Yeah.
Then we're dealing with us as work colleagues. At what point does that get blurred and we lose who we are and we're struggle fighting? Yeah. So take yourself out of one of those areas, and then you need to be able to sit down and tell him that it's not my role to consistently educate you on the fact that we have a child and how you need to also show up as a man. Because at some point, men don't want us to also tell them who to be, but then we have to tell them who to be. So it's for a man to also be able to say and step up to some responsibility sometimes. Yeah. When you've got a child, recognize it's not just her responsibility to take care of the child. Yeah. At least provide and do your part for the child if you're feeling you can't do any more. And then don't be upset when women get angry and feel that frustration's coming out, because I have nowhere else to take it out on. You're the person in my life that needs to be doing little basics for me as a woman. Yeah. And then this is where now we talk about power shifts. Yes. Because now the woman has no choice but to become the man in the relationship, and the man's wondering why are they two men in the relationship. But sometimes it needs a great man to be the only man in the relationship to allow the woman to still feel safe enough to be who she is. So leave this job, get a brilliant other job wherever you can. I would suggest don't just leave, look for something while you're earning the little bit that you are. And then the next step for you is to really be able to see, is this a relationship you see for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
Or is this something that can change, or it can't, or you need to change?
You have greatness within you. You are beautiful, and you can be whatever it is that you want to be. So you just need to tap into that and, kick away the fear. One final question. Yes, Joy? One final one? Okay. Hi, Mary. Just want you to know how you will convince your man that you do understand what he's going through without a job, because at this moment everything you do seems to be wrong and he overreacts in every situation. So he's already frustrated, I'm imagining.
Yes.
And then you don't even know how to broach the subject of you need to get a job.
Right. And sometimes maybe it's not, he's already aware. So if he's naturally frustrated, he's already feeling, I can't get a job, I'm frustrated in a time like this. Sometimes it's just to be able to be there as a woman.
Okay.
To just let him know, I'm here. Whatever happens, happens with the two of us. Don't worry. We'll do it together. How can we both earn to make things work better? Do we need to cut on certain costs within the house right now to make it easier on you?
Yeah.
It's being able to let him know you are still this beautiful man that can achieve. Don't feel deflated. And I feel in a time like this is where women can really shine. Because so many men have lost their jobs and they feel like they've lost their whole identity. But now when a woman comes in and can say, I will be here quiet, I'll be here to talk when you need, I can be a friend when you need a friend, but I'm not going to nag about the situation. You both understand the situation needs an income at some point.
Yes.
But what do we do together? How do we do this together?
Yeah.
Not, are you aware you need to earn this situation's bad. So come at it as
together.
A team and let him know, I'm there for you no matter what.
Okay.
How do we figure this out? Do we do something as a couple that maybe we've never thought of? And now is a beautiful chance for us to? Or any support you need in any way, that's just my role for you now.
Okay. Thank you, Shaz. Our time is up, and I see all your questions, and I am sorry, but you know what? Because I'm the ultimate plug, you can DM all these questions to Shazmin. Okay, Shaz, how do they get through to you?
They can reach me on @BeingRealNow on Instagram. I've got a beautiful, podcast couples can listen to, they can learn. But if you send me any DMs, I'll be able to coach you for free on it. So you never feel alone. You've got a new friend that can just listen to you, help you in the best way that I can.
If you're not taking up that offer, I am. I will do that. So please, who doesn't want her as a friend? So thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, we have a giveaway for you. It is merchandise, Full Circle with Mikali branded. And all you need to do is tell us about your situation in the relationship. Did you experience any power struggle? How did you get out of it? It has to be the two-part. Did you experience it, and how did you get out for you to walk away with this giveaway? We'll be right back. This is Full Circle with Mikali.